How's it going, everyone? Welcome to episode 2 of my vlog. And today we'll be doing a Spring multi-part to AWS S3. So recently I've been doing a side project that requires the user to upload a file, and then I need to save this file to S3 because I don't want to save it in a database. It's not very efficient to save large files in the database, so S3 is a great place to store these kinds of files. So I'm familiar with Spring, but I've not uploaded videos or images, files to Spring before. So this vlog will kind of go through what I'm working with. So let's take a look at it. Okay, so if you're familiar with Spring, you'll see that this looks like a controller endpoint method, right? So this is where the outside world will come in through /store if they're using a post. And then this method will start executing, right? So what I have here is a couple parts. So I have 2 request parts, and Spring allows you to upload multiple files or multiple types of data to an endpoint. So this one is receiving this store object, so this will be in JSON. So that's one of the parts of the request, so request part. And then the other part is actually an array of multi-part files. All right, so what's a multi-part file? So I went here and looked at the definition in the Java doc. So it's a representation of an uploaded file received, right? So the file contents are stored in memory or temporarily on disk, but we are responsible to copy the file from the session to some kind of persistent store, right? So it's basically an in-memory file when we get it. And by putting the little brackets here, we can receive an array of files. Okay, so we can send a multiple number of files here, and then also doing required equals false. I don't require this endpoint to always have a file. So I have a requirement in my application where I don't have to have the user upload a file. They can upload a file if they want to, so that's why I have required equals false here. Okay, so once I've received this multi-part file, then I want to save it to S3. So I have this separate service here called S3 service impl. It implements just a simple interface here, which I'm just with the method here, so we have a good interface for swapping out implementations if we need to, but I just have one implementation. And then I've auto wired the S3 client in here, so this is what's responsible for interacting with S3. So that comes from the AWS SDK. And you can see so if you want to know the actual class name, there it is. Okay, so then I have this method here where I want to save the file in S3 and then return the URL of that file. Because in my database, I want to save the URL of where I saved the file in S3 so that later my users can retrieve that file from S3. Okay, so this method has a multi-part file, bucket name, and then the bucket key, or the key of the path inside the bucket in S3. Okay, and then basically you need to create a file object. So you pass in the actual original file name of that file that was passed in through the controller. And then this block here, the file output stream, we pass in the constructor of the new file that we just created. And this is where it actually takes the file, grabs the bytes from that multi-part file, and then it actually writes it to disk. Okay, so this is where it actually writes a brand new file. Okay, and then I catch an exception here if we had an error converting the file. And then I go down and put the S3 file into S3. So then I take that file that we have, and then I say s3.put object. We take the bucket name and the key and the file, and that pushes it up there. And then I have another catch for the exception here. We go down here, and then now we need to get the URL. Unfortunately, this put object, like whatever it returns, this put object result, I was not able to extract like the S3 location. So I have to do another call to S3 to get the actual URL. If you know a better way to do that, then definitely let me know in the comments. Anyways, I now get the URL using AWS S3 get URL with the bucket name and the key of the file I just put up in S3. I grab the string representation of that, I log it, and then now I also delete this new file that I also just created, because otherwise on my disk, my file system, wherever this app is running, we're going to have a bunch of these files that are being uploaded. So I need to make sure I delete the file, and then I can return the string URL of that. Okay. And if this returns successfully, then S3 received my file and I have an S3 URL. I can then take this URL and then save it in my object, in my DB database or something. Anyways, that's it for this video. I hope it was helpful for someone out there. It took a bit of time trying to figure this out, so hopefully it helps shortcut your progress on your projects. So thanks a lot, and we'll talk to you later.